I hope you guys have enjoyed all the examples. We're going with high HP specialist amplify spec. Our opponent's cost control with Stormcaller Arclight. We are amplify marksman tarantula. I don't like the Stormcallers that much. I don't love it. Let's go ahead and give ourselves a little bit of a spread out engage. I'm gonna play like mostly to the left, but also towards the mid. I'm doing kind of like a spread. We're doing like a spread out defense overall. I'll amplify core our tarantula. I don't really need. I feel like the best benefit here. So like, let me explain. Amplify core again. If you forgot, it does 22% attack and HP. And out of my army, I have 2 units. I have a tarantula and I have a marksman. I am also going to make a crawler so that I can engage into his... I want to engage into his Stormcallers effectively. So crawlers are going to be able to dodge shots. But out of our army, our marksman would gain benefit from an amp core, mostly in the form of DPS. And our tarantulas would gain benefit from the amp core in terms of mostly HP. They do get a little, obviously, a DPS increase of 2. But marksman already can 2-shot an Arclight, and that's not going to change. And they 1-shot a Stormcaller, and that's not going to change if I put an amp core on them. And it's also now they 1-shot a Fang, and that's not going to change. So an amp core, realistically, in this situation, if you do the math and you just look, 2300 is more than every unit in terms of a breakpoint that he has. For an Arclight, I already do more than half of his health bar in 1 shot. So if I had an amp core, it wouldn't be enough to 1-shot, but it would be close. I'd probably be doing, instead of like 60% or like 65% of his health bar, I'd be doing like 85% of his health bar. Like, he would almost be dead. But with the tarantula, it really does just tank better. So it makes the tarantula do something like what it's doing now, where it just lasts longer in the front. Keeps us safer longer. So that's why I chose to put it there. Just has the biggest use, the most usefulness out of what we're fighting against. Missile strike, extended range saber-tooth, shield airdrop. I think we'll do a shield airdrop. Screw it. I'll put it like over here. I'll put it on this side a little bit so that the Stormcaller can kind of miss. And here's a nice little... I'll put it right here, actually. This is a nice little trick we're going to do. I'll aggressively shove the barrier forward. My units will walk into it. So a barrier that's a shield airdrop can be put over the line. We can't put it on his tower because, like, you can't put it on the towers. But I can put it over the line. So we're going to put it as close to the red zone as possible. And now we're going to actually do something like buy a mobile beacon. And this is a nice trick you can do to somebody who's playing Stormcallers really early in the game. We can grab a... And then they put them also, they put specifically Stormcallers together in the middle like this. We can grab a crawler, mobile beacon it, and tell it to run, and then tell it to run. And now it's just going to run left and right and dodge missiles. So this is going to indirectly protect our barrier from getting shot at by missiles, which is his form of DPS right now. Behind this, let's get another crawler, put it over here, and let's protect the tower from a potential flank. Because now the fact that we're in the bottom right quadrant, these crawlers would go for a flank and kill it. Or they can come up this way and make sure this doesn't get on my tower so fast. So now we see Stormcaller shooting. They're missing. Stormcaller shooting. They're missing. Crawler's doing a great job buying us some extra time in the fight. And now the crawlers also aggroed all the stuff on the right and pulled them back here, so my tower is actually also not compromisable, which is also indirectly really nice. And we're working on the barrier. We almost got through it. We actually just got through it. Our barrier is still alive. So that was a very nice round. The barrier tanked some damage for us, and the fact that it exists and it keeps it. If it doesn't die, it goes back to full HP every time. So very, very nice to keep it alive, and now this left side can be still pretty protected. Out of this drop, we definitely need to think about maybe getting another marksman on the right side for the Raiden possibility. Also, it's just DPS, so it would also help with the Sandworm and a Fortress if they existed. Our DPS is kind of lacking on the right side. We have a level 2 marksman on the left, so and we have 3 on the left to mid. I think our left side's fine. I think we're going to probably take a Sandworm. The reason why is if we make a marksman, we can deal with the Raiden, and if a Sandworm could really help us deal also with a marksman against another Sandworm or against the Fortress or the Void Eye. Sandworm also has good entry into Stormcaller. It'll be really annoying because it'll just keep burrowing and coming out of ground. And we could also put a device on this thing. I could put another amp core, which we have available here, and just put it on the worm. We could also not do that, and I could get a tarantula and save the worm's device slot for something better too. That's also possible. You know, things are all possible in this game. We'll just save the worm's inventory for a better device. Let's get a worm over on the side of the board, and we'll get ourselves 2 more marksmen. Maybe get marksman like here, and get another marksman like right here. And now we have a lot more DPS on the right side of the board too. Level up that marksman on the left. And we'll tell the crawlers once again, this time we'll do everything but the top 3 and go across. Oh, we didn't even do it. It was too much time wasted. So no mobile beacon this time. But he did make a forward Fang and an Arclight, so it would have died either way. Which is fine. And now we see he made he has a Fortress, we have a Sandworm, so we have different choices. I think the Sandworm could be a really nice choice if we get that tower really fast. Because we want to get the Sandworm like all over these Stormcallers and stuff really early. And maybe also support the Marksman a little bit, maybe weaken the Fortress, finish off the other units. The Fang still being here is not great. And one thing that makes us get rid of Fangs is a nice range upgrade on our Tarantula. It's like, think about what unit deals with chaff in our board. It's the Tarantula. What would make the Tarantula not die so fast and stay alive longer to kill Fangs? A range upgrade. So they stay back. Because again, this is kind of siege versus siege. And here's a cool trick you can do too. Notice how he put an arc light right there. He didn't put it right here. He put it right there. We don't have to mobile beacon to the left every single time. We can go the other direction. So that's what we're going to do. He does not actually have anti-air on Fortress. He also does not have anti-air on Arclight, so the only anti-air he has is the Fang. So I'm actually very tempted to go ahead and take that improved Wasp. I'm very tempted to do it. Smoke Bomb is also kind of nice. Yeah, we'll take improved Wasp. I'm not gonna make Wasp yet, but the option is there. I might make them like next round. We'll go ahead and get range on my Tarantula. We'll tell this Crawler pack to patrol the other way. And then we'll just have it come back. We'll do, I'll do another Tarantula on this side that goes up the wall. I'll get one more Crawler pack that comes out like the back. And now we just have more chaff clear in general. And I feel like a big reason why this is really important is we just want to try to really support our worm over here by getting rid of all the chaff. And he's got quite a bit on the left side already. Let's also get a barrier that blocks out like a smoke bomb if he smoke bombs me. He didn't, so no smoke bomb. It also indirectly helps us too a little bit with taking some of the damage of the round. Our Tarantulas have range, so they're working on these units way faster. Our left Tarantula actually locked onto the Fortress, unfortunately. So that's not great. He's not really doing his job properly. The fortress does go down, though, to marksman. So these marksmen are getting stronger and stronger. Marksmen absolutely are really good DPS. Oh, yes. Very good. Marksman on the right side leveled up too. It's really sick. Absorb module. Okay. Put that on the worm. Put the absorb module on the worm. Now the worm has the ability to heal itself with the module. So hopefully it's able to keep itself alive. Let's go ahead and do one more tarantula on this side. And let's get 2 fangs. And what I'm going to do now... is I'm going to get a fang squad in front of both of my side tarantulas. We have a tarantula and a fang squad. So it blocks shots from the front. The arc lights might kill it relatively well. Let's put a barrier on this side. Ideally away from the fortress a little bit if I can, but I might not. It's fine. We'll have this crawler this time because we just put a barrier here to try to... So why did we put a barrier here? I want the arc light to shoot a barrier. It's all G. We'll make the crawlers this time. We'll have them run to the right, like run back and then over to the right. So we run away from him a little bit, and maybe even further down than that, because we're gonna run directly into the arc light shots otherwise. And we have 3 deployments out. We have this fang over here to block shots again. We have a tarantula to clear out the fangs so my worm does not get stuck on his fangs. Because if I do, the worm's gonna definitely die because the fortress is just gonna kill it. I don't have enough DPS. I don't have enough, like... If you use an absorb module, it's supposed to heal you for 90% of the damage you deal, which is a lot for a worm. But not if it's hitting a unit that has a small HP bar that I can't heal off of because the bar of health is too tiny. Like if a fang only has 100 health, the worm is only going to heal for 100, simply because the HP bar is too low for the fang. But the worm actually levels up. You can see because we clicked it and we see the level on the left side of the screen is like fully lit up. So now this is a level 2 worm with an absorb module. So that worm is actually a very big problem. A worm is definitely a unit that if it starts scaling up, it's so scary. It can be very terrifying. And that absorb module, he has the same problem here. He's got an absorb module fortress on the right side, so that thing is also a beast. We gotta also respect that thing. A level 6 saber. A level 6 saber is a way you can respect a fortress. We haven't really done this that much yet, so we'll just go ahead and do it. I'll get a saber. The reason why I'm getting the saber is because we already hit those air options. I don't care. I have marksman. And the saber option is, this is a super high form of DPS versus ground, and all we have to do is get double shot. This fortress is going to have 100,000 health. This Sabertooth hits for about 100,000 damage right now. If I get a damage upgrade, it now does 104,000 damage. If I level up my worm, this thing is looking good too now. I could do another damage upgrade, and this thing is now doing 128,000 damage a shot, but because it shoots 2 times its damage now with double shot. But I can't really buy units properly if I do that, so I won't do that. Let's have this crawler pack once again just run to the left and buy time in front of that fortress. Dun, dun. All right, I'll get a couple more. We'll do a couple more crawler packs. We don't have a lot of backline chaff, honestly. We don't really have a lot of backline chaff. So let's get a little bit more and go with that. I'm double shotting the Mustangs right now, So the Sabertooth didn't quite make it to where he was supposed to make it. So we're having another chaff problem again. So if we're having a chaff problem, there's a lot of ways we can fix it, but one of the easiest ways we could try to fix it is by simply getting high explosive on my tarantula. Get some high explosive on my tarantula so that my tarantula can actually get through the chaff way faster with bigger detonations. Okay, let's get a portable shield and let's just put it on our Sabertooth. So this thing is like, we got a tank on the right in the form of a sandworm, and we got a tank on the left in the form of the saber. If we get an upgrade on here, let's get high explosive ammo for tarantula, so we lose a little bit of damage on the tarantula, but it's okay. Their damage is like, it's supposed to be killing mustangs and this is chaff. Like, this board is lots of chaff. Maybe it would even do us better as well to get another tarantula right here. Just get something else that can also work the front a little bit faster. Start getting it done as quick as we can. Let's get range for everybody. The crawlers are gonna die. It's okay. They're just, you know, hopefully gonna bait out some stormcrawler missiles for a little bit, and it's fine. He doesn't have air. Also, we analyzed that earlier. Let's just get ourselves 2 Phoenix, because he doesn't actually have a good anti-air at the moment. So we'll put a Phoenix on either side of the board. That'll be able to help a lot. His Mustangs would become his anti-air, but Mustangs can totally die to Tarantula. And now with high explosive, we're going to be killing his Mustangs and all of his chaff so much faster. The AoE radius just goes up so much with that. Now, left side got through it. The double shot saber killed that fortress. And right side's also getting through it. The marksmen are actually getting it done. So, good news. Good stuff. Good news. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Heavy armor. Shield airdrop. Heavy armor is kind of like... it's okay right now. Shield airdrop, same thing, kind of We'll just take the heavy armor, it's fine. I don't really want assault melters or... Also, I don't really want a melting point that has less range, and we don't need a melter, because a melter is DPS, but we have DPS in the form of marksmen that are all kind of high level now. And also in the form of the double shot saber, and even now Phoenix. So we're looking pretty good in that. We'll just take the armor, we'll level up my tarantula. 3 of them leveled up, which is great. Level up my marksman. 3 of them leveled up, which is great. Level the Phoenix. Let's put an HP device. Maybe on the left side. No, I can't actually. I can put it on this guy. But I don't really feel like I need to. Put it on this guy in the middle, it's fine. And we'll give ourselves a shield device here. Like, protects us from the arc light, allows me to get in here and be annoying. Have this thing run around, it's fine. We'll get range for the marksman. So they just shoot from further away now, they can lock onto like the arc light faster. Let's get range for everybody. We can get range for the Phoenix. And this round, I guess we also, just to keep it safe, simple, easy peasy, we'll take a backline Fang round. And we'll go with that. We'll send it with that. Nice. We blocked out a missile device with that barrier, so that's great. And there's more fortress. And now these Mustangs still are not upgraded, so he doesn't have any anti-air really. The Mustang are the only anti-air he has on the board, and they are not upgraded, so they die really fast. So the fortress, no matter what, are going to die to the Phoenix. But I still think our board could actually get through it just because of how much like, this saber is so insane, dude. It looks at a fort, it dies. Just it's so hard. And the marksmen are also enough with the Phoenix to really get through it themselves too. We have enough DPS because our DPS at this point is getting leveled and they're getting more powerful, able to get through the HP bars required out of the fortress. But yeah, this game again, simply put, chaff time. Tarantula was our starter, and you don't have to always commit to your starter, but once again, we just did, because you can't always also just ignore your starter all the time. Like we played a game a couple games ago with Typhoons where we kind of ignored our starter. We made Arclight as a starter and we just ignored it. We stopped playing it because we replaced it with something else. It's okay to do something like that too if you think you have something that's better suited for the job on the board you're playing against, or you just want to try something else. But Tarantula is a unit where its investment is a little bit steeper than like an Arclight. A Tarantula is twice as expensive. We're talking about a 200 resource unit here versus a 100 resource unit. So we're paying twice as much for these Tarantulas. And then on top of that, our opponent has so much chaff that it just makes sense simply for how many squads we could counter in this game if we just turn on something like range and high explosive. Because, and the benefit out of both of these upgrades again is range not only allows us to keep the Tarantulas safer because they shoot from further back, but it also allows me to kill his stuff faster because I can reach further at him. And if I'm killing his stuff faster, it can spiral out of control in the fight where if I'm able to kill the frontline chaff faster, it means my DPS can connect to his DPS faster, stuff like that. On a board like this, where his DPS is like clearly in the back. Like these Fortress and these Arclights are not walking in the front of the army. These things have much slower move speed than his Mustangs and his Crawlers, and he already has Fangs in front of the Fortress and in front of the Arclight. So he has Fangs in front and he has Crawlers behind, and this leads to all chaff is going to ultimately be in front of his DPS, which is all stacked up in the center of the board, with the exception of this one Arclight that was trying to counter the Mobile Beacon Crawler. So if we can get rid of the chaff, and again, this is something we've talked about before, in a game like this, where your opponent is engaging you clearly with all their chaff in the front, you have options here to be able to kill the chaff. One is you can flank it. I don't think it was super necessary to flank it because he already has fortresses and stuff on the side. These fortresses would be very hard to flank into. These things have launcher overload and range, so they would crush. Like if I put a Tarantula in there, this fortress would just smash the crap out of it. Same thing with the other side. And then he also has like a bunch of Crawlers already on the line. Like he has a very healthy stack of stuff here that could kill a flank. So if I did flank, it would maybe need to be like a juicy investment of like more things involved. And another way you can deal with it instead of flanking is by doing things that like reach further into his army, like fire, for instance. Again, we keep mentioning fire, but fire it just persists on the ground, and units could just run through it and die. A Crawler pack physically can't make it through fire before it's dead if it's level 1. So stuff like that could also help if you're having a chaff problem. It's great ways to evolve your chaff clear, your AoE clear. But we have, again, this game, we just took Explosive Tarantula, and they really got the job done really fast because it makes the Tarantula's explosion go from about being that big to about like that big. Like it instead of killing like a couple fangs at once, it can kill like a chunk of the fangs at once. So, and this makes a lot of difference when you're shooting shot, and you have like, you're shooting off almost 2 shots a second out of like 6 different Tarantulas. So these things are just power clearing the whole board at that point with that, as long as they're not dying, and nothing in this board is really killing us that fast, because the fortresses are really getting stuck on my chaff as well, because I also have a lot of chaff myself. So again, fire would be something too against my board that could be nicer, because the more chaff we have, the more AoE, the deeper the AoE, the power it is, the more effective it is, because it just punishes the chaff. So we understand we have AoE clear. Again, I feel like I mentioned this a few times throughout the series. A lot of times your games literally come down to, do you or do you not have the ability to clear the AoE that's required on the board? Like, is your board able to sustain and like hold off the swarm or not? And if it's not, then you have to maybe think about your positioning, or maybe you simply have to think about your choice of upgrade or choice of unit sometimes, based on where you put it and what upgrade you're running with it. Like, for instance, if I say tarantulas are great on this board, what I mean by that is they're great at killing chaff on this board, which means range and explosive are all you really need to make that work. If I were to get like mechanical rage, for instance, there is a chance my tarantulas might walk forward a little bit faster, and maybe they might find themselves getting targeted by the stormcrawlers a little bit faster. Maybe they get targeted by the fortresses a little bit faster. And if my tarantulas die, then I have no chaff clear. So like, if you're getting mechanical rage here, you might sabotage yourself because you run too fast and you die. Another upgrade that would like not be the greatest upgrade here would be spider mines. Spider mines is not bad here, but at the same time, if I was going spider mines instead of one of these other upgrades I already have, it would once again have a problem with chaff. Spider mines are not necessarily the answer to a chaff problem. They're, especially when the chaff problem also is backed up by launcher overload fortress. Like, we just played this composition ourselves a second ago. We didn't have launcher overload, but we did have arclight fortress. And fortress are easily enough DPS to one-shot a mine that a tarantula pops out. The mines are pretty squishy. Even the arclights are almost enough to one-shot a mine. The level 2 ones, I think, are enough to one-shot the mine if it's a level 1 tarantula. None of my tarantulas are level 1, so the arclights would have to take 2 shots to kill it, or a few shots to kill it. But my point is, the mines would pop out and just get killed, and then I would have bad chaff clear because I'm not rocking high explosive. And I can't magically have all 3 if I can't afford it, right? If I buy all 3, that's 700 resources that I'm not spending elsewhere on my board. So just understanding what is the unit's job, what is it supposed to do, and how do I, like, what can I do to make it better if it's still not enough? And we were losing rounds. We lost a couple rounds because my tarantulas were still trying to kill the crawlers and the mustangs and all that kind of stuff while he was killing my DPS with his DPS. Like, I was not done with the chaff by the time my army was dying. So, so if you think about it like that and you're like, oh, I'm still working on your chaff when I'm dying, for like when my actual units are dying, not my chaff only. If I increase the speed at which I kill chaff, I can now fix this problem. And a lot of units have upgrades that do this for them. Like, range simply is one of the upgrades that does it for a lot of units. Just to be able to like kill things from deeper into the board, so you can start killing chaff faster, and you can like rotate how the board really engages because you're like thinning his army out on the engage a little bit quicker and stuff like that. And then again, we had marksmen behind it. Marksmen are just simply, they're the same thing as Phoenix. They're a ground unit versus an air unit, but they both are single target DPS. That's all they are. And when these units level up a couple times, they become very, very respectable DPS. Like this marksman right here, that's level 4 in the middle of the board. This guy's doing 10,000 damage a shot. 10,000 damage a shot is enough to one-shot an arclight. And it's enough to like 4-shot a level 1 fortress, and so on and so on. It would take 10 shots to kill that big fortress with the device. But then we have that Sabertooth that does 104,000 damage a shot, which is enough to one-shot that fortress. So we were just taking things and going, okay, what do we need? What do we have? What does he have? What do I, like, what's the goal here? The fortresses are really tanky, but we have things that can kill really tanky. We have our own version of something that's really tanky. His fortress actually do crazy good DPS. They do 11,000 damage every second. So with this launcher overload upgrade, so they're crushing. They're pumping out that damage on that worm pretty fast. But ultimately, altogether, the reason why we won this board is his AoE is not as good as our AoE. That's all it is. Arclights are definitely a unit that can become good if they are winning rounds and leveling up, but they're really not that great if they're still level 1 or level 2 by the end of the game. Like, you basically want to be like twice as high in upgrades in terms of level. To, like an Arclight versus a Tarantula, you'd want to be twice the level of that to make that feel even fair. Like if a Tarantula is level 4, you'd want to have a level 8 Arclight. If a Tarantula is level 2, you'd want to have a level 4 Arclight for that to feel good, like at all. If you have like equal levels or negative levels where you're level 2, you have a level 1 Arclight in the same quadrant as a level 2 Tarantula, that does not feel good. That feels very, very problematic, and that like Arclight is going to struggle all day there. It's not going to have a good time. It's going to be very, very... This is like, if this was like a Sparta defense, this would be the guy who drops the shield and everyone else dies and gets stabbed in the back because of it, because this guy can't hold his area. That's like the level of Arclight there. It can crumble really quickly if they're not actually farming experience. So yeah, anyways, AoE board with some specific, and like the last thing I'll say, marksman. This is something that's relevant that I feel like you guys should understand, if you don't already. Marksmen were built this game in preparation for quadrants. Okay, I made marksmen with like this marksman, this marksman, and this marksman. The 3 marksmen on the left, that was round 1. Those 3 marksmen started round 1 there so that I could play these 2 tarantulas and have like a mid to left range board. The reason why I did that is so I could overpower something on the left and I could aggro stuff on the right to come towards me, but it gets to me late. Hopefully by the time I'm killing a lot of stuff on the left side. So, because I also kind of angled it in a diagonal line a little bit too. Not too heavy, but it is a little bit of a diagonal. Up until I started building more on the right side. And then I added like the tarantula up here to pressure those fangs and stuff. But the marksmen are, the first 3 are built in terms of quadrant, like covering the tarantula and also covering just like heavy DPS in the middle to the left of the board. And then right side got 2 more marksmen just to increase the power of this quadrant. And the reason why I put 2 marksmen here instead of 2 marksmen like here and here is because this guy was already leveling up and these guys were starting to have a problem that was starting to exist over here because 1 fortress did exist early and 1 marksman's going to struggle really hard to kill 1 fortress for a long time. So being able to have a little bit more DPS stacked up in a really high health situation right there is nice. So the first 3 we built was kind of standard, and then the last ones we built, they did fill in the last quadrant, but we stacked up a little bit more DPS than otherwise you always need to, because he stacked up a little bit of tankability that you don't, you know, that's not always going to be like that either, but we do need to respect it because nothing's really able to kill it. If I just put a level 1 marksman there and I just have the 1 marksman there and expect him to get through that, he might be like, yo, that's going to take me like 4 minutes to kill all that with my current stats. So it would just be a lot more difficult. And then Phoenix, we put Phoenix again in terms of quadrant. And the reason why I put Phoenix in terms of quadrant is I put 1 on the left and I put 1 on the right. The only reason why I did that is not because I needed DPS. It's not because I was like, oh, I'm lacking the damage I needed here. That is why I put the Sabertooth there. That specific fortress right there with the device, that healing device, every time he shoots, he heals for 90% of the damage, which is like 10,000, 10,000, 10,000, 10,000, 10,000. If he's hitting units that have 10,000 health. If they don't have 10,000 health, it's whatever the current health bar was. But I did add the Sabertooth specifically to snipe that fortress, with the blue fortress with the device, right? But the Phoenix, the only reason why they went where they went is because our opponent currently has nothing good versus air, because he has unupgraded he has unupgraded Mustangs that are dying to tarantulas really fast. And he has no anti-air outside of that and fangs. And the fangs are also dying super fast. They have no range. They're just getting crushed by the tarantula. They're both getting AoE'd down really hard. So the Arclight, the Stormcaller, and the Fortress, the only other units he has right now, not a single one of them can hit air. There's no anti-missile on Fortress, and there's no anti-air on Arclight. And Stormcallers can never hit air. So I put a Phoenix on both sides of the board simply to, just in case something overpowered me and I lost, I was like losing the fight with like my tarantula and my saber or whatever, I now have a phoenix that's immune to dying that can just cover that area. It can just sit on top of the fortress and just shoot all day. And if it does this and it kills the fortress, which it will, it definitely doesn't take forever for a phoenix to kill a fortress, especially when it's the same level. All that does is it feeds the phoenix XP to then level it up. And if we level the phoenix up, it just becomes, again, a new DPS problem. That's another, just another problem that is also immune to damage that he's doing at the moment. If he upgrades Mustangs with like anti-air spec and stuff like that, it could still be really bad because his Mustangs are still running in front of his fortress. Actually, that's not true. They would be actually behind the fortress, but yeah. We weren't like relying on the Phoenix either. It's not like the Phoenix were the core of our gameplay here. It's just nice to sometimes have an air unit covering you in case you're going to lose the round, so that you don't lose the round. It's like, oh, you don't have anything that can kill air, and I have an air unit, so if I lose the round, the air unit will just like sit over the top and finish off as much as it can before the round's over. And a Phoenix, as long as a Phoenix isn't stuck shooting crawlers the entire time, which it shouldn't be because we have so much tarantula AoE, we have so much AoE. If the Phoenix is instead stuck shooting at whatever's left of the fortress and the Stormcaller and the Arclight, Phoenix will absolutely kill that, 100%. So we had an overall, again, well-rounded board. We spread it across the center to like the middle front center area. We're slightly ahead of the towers. And we just have an AoE-centric board versus an AoE, like a chaff-focused board. And again, we're also chaff-focused too, but hopefully anything and everything we've talked about all makes sense. There's lots of ways you can play it. There's lots of mods that exist in this game. There's sometimes mods that can be turned on that can like activate a build. Like you can mass produce something that previously would be really expensive, but now is not, and it can make it really nice. Improved units. The card for like improved units can be really good at times. Like improved Wasp, when we took improved Wasp, like if you take Wasp out of that, it makes the Wasp substantially better because it really does change their stat values and stuff like that. And I'm not, so that's going to be it for my Grind to 1500 series. I played some extra games here at the end with some wins and losses mixed in. I'm not done making guide content. I will do more in general, but for this specific series, for the initial Grind to 1500, I tried to keep it relatively simple, and I hope I gave you some ideas on how to learn the game, and I hope I did not overwhelm you overall at learning the game, but really getting to know the roster. I feel like we introduced almost everything out of this roster at least once in most of our games. Whether it be my opponent used it against us or we used it ourselves. I do think I used most of these units ourselves. I can't remember all of them, what I did, but I used the majority of it. But there's a lot of choices with upgrades. You don't have to run any specific set of upgrades. You can try to be creative and run your own. If you're losing a lot with it though, you might want to rethink how you're using them or what you're even running. Some upgrades do make your life easier, but there are a lot of upgrades that can synergize and make, if you have one upgrade on one unit, suddenly a different upgrade on a different unit it's way more powerful now because you put them together and it makes it really shine. It like together they work great. Stuff like that. But thank you for watching, guys. That's gonna be it for my Grind to 1500 series. And if you made it to 1500 yourself, congrats. You're already becoming intermediate at Mechabellum.